She hasn't been heard from since. Jean Leshy lost 2 daughters, one 15, the other 17. He says they were taken by men who promised to marry them. Instead, the girls wound up as teenage prostitutes on the streets of Italy, smuggled there by the Albanian mafia. It happens almost every day.
A majority, it seems like, of the women that are trafficked are under 18 years old. Certainly they're demanded younger and younger in the sex trade because there's less fear of AIDS.
At a shelter in the Albanian capital, we met a group of girls and young women who have escaped from their captors. Elena is 16.
My friend and I were taken by the same man. He told us we were going to work as prostitutes in Italy. I was very scared.
They told us they were bought and sold several times, passed from one criminal syndicate to another, raped and beaten, and auctioned off like cattle.
The clients would come to the house and the owner would tell us to undress, to put on some makeup and to just let the clients see if we had any tattoos or marks. We were in our underwear or completely naked. Then, after a few days, they would come back and buy the girls.
Is it slavery?
Yes, I would identify it as that. When it's forced and you're not earning any profit or any income from your labor and you're being sold from one trafficker to another, yes, I would classify it as slavery.
And these are the slave ships, high-powered speedboats that can make it across the Adriatic Sea from Albania to Italy in less than 2 hours. They travel at night to avoid the police. There is no hard data on just how many traffickers make this run across the water, but according to Albanian government figures, last year alone, almost 150 boats were seized, all involving the smuggling of women to Italy. For 46 years, Albania was a strict communist state, almost completely cut off from the outside world. When mass demonstrations brought down the government in 1991, organized crime rushed in, and the Albanian mafia quickly developed a reputation as a ruthless smuggler of weapons, drugs, and women. Today, the Albanian and Italian police patrol the Adriatic together. Occasionally, they arrest some of the traffickers. But in the Albanian countryside, people put up crosses, memorials to the young girls who have gone missing. And some families no longer send their teenage girls to school, too afraid they may never come home. Bob Woodruff, ABC News, Tirana, Albania.
It is estimated that maybe 30,000 Albanian prostitutes are now working in the rest of Europe. Tomorrow, we'll look at bought and sold to work on the farms, even before they are teenagers. Tonight, you may recall that last month we were trafficking a ship off the west coast of Africa. We were actually tracking it, which was found to be carrying a group of children who had been sold or trafficked as laborers to farms and to factories. Our colleagues at the British Broadcasting Corporation have been on this as well, and tonight, as part of World Watch, the BBC's Humphrey Hoxley reports from West Africa.
At a roadblock in the Ivory Coast, police check a bus for child slaves and for the adults who sell them. Anyone without the right papers is suspect, and when all the passengers are meant to be off, they go back for a final look. And besides finding a mother with a baby, they come across little Pegwingwe Wadrago, if that's his real name, confused, terrified, and suddenly very alone. Who are you with? Asks the bus driver. Him, he points, but the man in the blue denim cap denies it. He has a scrap of paper saying he's heading for the cocoa farms, where thousands like him work as slaves. I'm 17, he says, but he can't be more than 12. He has no official papers and no money, yet someone somewhere has bought his bus ticket. That much we do know. The police took him off to find out more. Who are his parents? Where's his home and how much was paid for? The going price for a boy like Pegwingwe is about $50. Almost certainly he was heading for a farm like this. Now it's nearly deserted. 200 slave children were kept here until last year. The community leader who found them said they were crammed into these huts. One door still has a lock on it. Children like Pegwingwe end up in the local police station. The commissioner said 7 were found today, dozens each week.
It's getting worse now. We're moving into the next harvest, so more and more children are coming in.
One lost little boy in a far-flung African police cell. Pengwingwe will be taken not to a cocoa farm, but home, yet with no guarantee that he won't be sold again. Humphrey Hawksley, BBC News, Bouaké, Ivory Coast.
It is often only by happenstance that a reporter sees slavery in action. It has, for example, taken the photojournalist Mike Shiel a long time to document the stories of children who've been saved in the West African nation of Benin, right next door to the Ivory Coast. Tonight, Mike Shiel in the first person.
That girl's name is Aminata. She was totally traumatized. That photograph is taken 24 hours after she was found. She was sitting under a tree, sobbing her heart out. It's bestial. I mean, to see children reduced to that state of abject terror, it's quite horrifying. Benin is one of the poorest countries in the world. People are just desperate, and if someone offers to take their child away, I think it's almost a relief. The traffickers are very often friends or other members of the family who take these children away, saying that, you know, they're going to have a good life in this other place. And, of course, it seldom lives up to that. Interestingly enough, the one trafficker that I was able to speak to, she had herself been trafficked as a child, so I think she just regarded it as a normal part of life. This girl is Morimata. Morimata is 15, and she is now HIV positive. In the picture, she's 8 months pregnant. She's now had the baby boy, but that girl is going to die. She was brought overland to a place called Ibono. The boatmen used to come along each night and take out the elder girls and rape them. So she has suffered from multiple rape. So her life is ended, basically. This is a major problem, and in the 21st century, it is an absolute disgrace. This is a filthy business.
When we come back, the controversial World War II memorial.
High school to take action. We've been telling you the horrifying stories about blacks in Africa who were sold and forced into slavery. After seeing our reports, many have now joined the fight to put an end to these atrocities. Kathleen Triggs joins us with the very latest developments. Kathleen?
Men, women, and children enslaved against their will. It's happening in several African nations. The question is, what are we doing to stop it? Tonight, we introduce you to some local people who weren't content being silent on the issue.
These women are being sold and bought in an open market. This is not a story. This is what is happening today, and you can't stop it.
It's stories like this that have prompted many people in our area to want to get involved in the fight against modern-day slavery. As we first exposed last February, in Africa alone, it's estimated that hundreds of thousands of people are held captive against their will.
They start shooting the people. They shot the people in the heads. They cut off the head with swords. They captured women and children. I tried to run and I was caught.
See, they have a war. It's a genocidal war. It's an ethnic cleansing war to destroy the Africans completely. So they, the Muslims, take over Sudan entirely.
We may not end the civil war in Sudan. We may not end slavery in Sudan, but we can help.
History teacher Andre Saya says seeing our report inspired him to take action. He convinced the administration at Bergen County Academies in Hackensack to allow him to come up with a single credit course which specifically addressed the issue of modern-day slavery.
UPN 9 had that feature in February, and we said to ourselves, hey, a news network locally here within the tri-state area is covering it. We have to do something.
Saya says that was all the motivation he and his students needed to get involved. They would name the class Operation Liberation, and much to the school's surprise, students fought to get in.
I found it really horrific that people could actually still be enslaving people. People could be killing people.
16-year-old Kevin Boakchi says one of the toughest things was convincing his family and friends that the practice of slavery still exists.
They were like, wow, slavery still exists? What are you talking about? They looked at me as if I was crazy or something. But then when I broke it down to them seriously and told them that it's a real serious problem, they decided that they would help.
Through their teachings here at Bergen County Academies, the students are learning that slavery is not just some other country's problem. It is a world crisis that requires world involvement, and Sudan is not the only nation crying out for help. The world was shocked when a ship suspected of carrying child slaves was forced to return to Benin, Africa. Authorities believe the ship was part of a lucrative trade in minors, sold by poor families and forced to work abroad on plantations or as servants.
For most of them, what is 100% clear is that they weren't on that boat with anyone that they knew. So they were being taken somewhere by people they didn't know. They were being trafficked.
Fortunately, the 43 children were found alive and have since been placed in protective care while efforts are being made to reunite them with their families. But despite international efforts to stop children from being sold into slavery, UNICEF estimates some 200,000 African children are living under similar circumstances, taken from their families and sold for as little as $14.
These are families and parents who know that they can't offer their children much of a future. And because of that, they're susceptible to promises that someone can give their kids a better life.
So what is the world to do? There are many families around the world who wouldn't mind adopting if it meant giving some of these children a glimmer of hope or opportunity. But experts we spoke with say that's not always possible. We spoke by phone with Americans for African Adoptions, an international adoption agency which specializes in finding homes for orphaned African children. But the director, Cheryl Carter-Schatz, said there are major barriers to adopting African children.
Many African countries ultimately do not allow their children to be adopted out.
Schatz told us about a meeting she once had with the Sudanese ambassador to the U.S.
When I explained that I wanted to talk about adoption, he told me that better they should starve to death in Sudan than leave Sudan.
William Ochan Levi, a former Sudanese refugee and founder of Operation Nehemiah, says because of Africa's strong belief in extended family, they don't believe in adoption. The better solution, he says, is for the world to send money and supplies to help these escaped and freed slaves rebuild their own villages. But he says the aid can't stop there.
We have to put pressure in the Washington, D.C. We get petition here. We're sending to the White House, to the State Department, and we have to pressure African nations who are close to Sudan, all the neighboring country. This war must be stopped.
And as Andre Saya's class is learning, educating people about slavery is key.
Even when this class is over, it's not going to be over until everything's over, until slavery is over.
And the students at Bergen County Academies are holding a fundraising assembly next Tuesday at 7 o'clock. It's called Operation Liberation, and they hope to bring hundreds of people together to join in the mission to end slavery. For more information and a list of anti-slavery websites, you can log on to our website at www.upn9.tv. Rollin?
About these slave stories, modern-day captives sold and forced into slavery. After seeing our report, some students formed Operation Liberation. Joanne Pileggi is live now in Bergen County at the Academy there with more on this story. Joanne?
Rollins, some 400 people, most of them students, just wrapped up a very special assembly here at this high school in Hackensack. They came for Operation Liberation, a program designed to eradicate modern-day slavery. It is an international issue that's taking center stage in a New Jersey high school tonight. Modern-day slavery in Africa and other developing countries. Millions of people are enslaved in various forms of bondage. UPN 9 has presented a series of stories detailing the problem.
When we created this course, Operation Liberation, which was inspired by a UPN 9 piece in February, we had a twofold goal in mind, and it was to raise awareness and to raise funds. And the awareness is to hopefully bring forth action.
Several hundred students at Bergen County Academies turned out to support the cause, Operation Liberation.
What I learned about slavery is just from the textbook and pictures, and one just like, just looking at it, it's like, oh, that's sad, but like that's the past or whatever. Like right now, like hearing about the presentations, I was like, there's still slavery like happening in the world, or like it could happen like around here, the U.S. It's just something that hits you hard.
Students signed up to get involved and spread the word about modern-day slavery. Their involvement is a very pleasant surprise for Francis Bach, who was a slave in Sudan for 10 years.
A lot of people have been taught that slavery was in 1865, and today slavery still exists.
Students say seeing the images of slaves in Sudan on UPN 9 was eye-opening.
It makes you feel kind of outraged and upset a little, but that's why I'm here to help.
Organizers of Operation Liberation hope the students who came here tonight and others will spread the message to raise awareness. Awareness they hope will spur action. Action they hope will bring an end to modern-day slavery. We're live in Hackensack tonight. I'm Joanne Pileggi, UPN 9 News. Back to you, Coran.
Thanks very much, Joanne.